My daughter accused me of spying. My wife took her side and packed her bags. So I showed them the camera footage. And the truth broke them both. Hey there. We're working hard to hit our first 1,000 subscribers. If you love true, emotional stories, hit that subscribe button. It helps more than you know. Now let's get into the story. You ever sit in your own living room and feel like a stranger in your own house? That was me, sitting on the edge of the couch, watching my wife zip up a suitcase while my 17-year-old daughter, Lena, glared at me like I was some kind of criminal. All because I dared to ask about something I saw on our home security camera feed. No yelling, no name calling, just me, holding a cup of cold coffee, realizing I wasn't even invited to the conversation about my own supposed guilt. Are you serious right now? I said, looking at Claire as she stuffed a second bag. You're really leaving because she said I'm spying? Lena scoffed. You were. I saw the alert. The security camera pinged because you were watching the hallway at 2 a.m. That's creepy, Dad. Creepy. I'm a small business owner. I work weird hours. Sometimes I check the cameras to make sure nobody's trying to break in. We had a break-in attempt a year ago. But none of that mattered. Claire had made up her mind. She didn't even ask for my side. She looked at me like she didn't know who I was anymore. Just give us some space, she said. We're going to stay with my sister for a few days. Maybe longer. Are you kidding me right now? I stood up, shaking. You believe I'm spying on our daughter without even asking why I looked at the cameras? You shouldn't have to look, Lena shot back. Claire didn't say anything. She just picked up her keys and walked out. That was the moment it hit me. I wasn't just being accused. I was already convicted. No trial. No questions. No logic. Just a gut punch wrapped in teen drama and marital silence. But here's the thing. I didn't check the cameras because of Lena. I checked them because something was off. My office door, the one I always lock, had been left open 2 nights in a row. The safe where I keep important documents had been tampered with. It wasn't paranoia. It was pattern recognition. And when I finally sat down and reviewed the footage from that week, yeah, I did see someone sneaking into the hallway at 2 a.m. But it wasn't just Lena. And she wasn't alone. There was someone else. A man. Tall. Confident. Familiar. And when I zoomed in, my whole body went cold. It was Ben, Claire's coworker. The one she said was just a friend. The one who always seemed a little too interested in our home remodel. The one who once parked in our driveway for over an hour when I was out of town, and Claire claimed it was just to borrow a charger. Now he was here, at 2 a.m., letting himself into my house while I slept upstairs. And Lena? She was helping him. Update 1. I didn't say anything for a few days. Claire and Lena were still staying at her sister's, playing the hurt women escaping the creepy husband act. I was getting calls from her side of the family, her mother, her aunt, even her brother, all asking how I could spy on my daughter like that. I didn't respond. Instead, I got a USB drive, copied the security footage, the clip that showed Ben, in my house, at night, walking out of my office, and then right down the hall where Lena's room was. He wasn't in a rush. He knew where everything was. That wasn't the first time he'd been there. And Claire? She didn't look shocked in the footage. Because she wasn't in the footage. She was the one letting him in on other nights. Yep, I dug deeper. 2 more nights in the last month, same guy, same time. One of them while I was working a night shift job at my print shop. Claire had told me she'd gone to bed early that night with a headache. Apparently, headache is code for hookup. I texted her, told her I needed to talk, calmly, in person. She agreed, probably expecting a grovel or some teary confession about watching the camera too much. When she showed up, she didn't sit down. She crossed her arms, looked me dead in the eye, and said, "Whatever you think you saw, I don't want Lena dragged into this." I nodded, walked to the TV, plugged in the USB, didn't say a word. Let the video play. The hallway scene. The door. Ben walking out of my office. Lena handing him something. The two of them whispering. Then, cut to the next night. Claire. Same hallway. Opening the door for Ben. Hugging him. She froze. Her arms uncrossed. She sat down like someone pulled the floor out from under her. When it ended, I finally spoke. "Do you want to start talking now?" She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She didn't apologize. She just whispered, "You shouldn't have been recording this." That was her first thought. Not "I'm sorry." Not "let me explain." Just blame. She got up, walked to the door, said, "You planned this. You've been waiting for me to slip up." And then she left again. I stood there in the doorway, alone, realizing she didn't just cheat. She weaponized our daughter to cover it up. She used my own child as a human shield. But here's the part Claire didn't count on. Lena may have believed her the first time, but I had more footage. And I wasn't done. Update 2. 3 days after Claire stormed out, Lena showed up at the house. Alone. She didn't come in right away. Just stood at the front door, shifting her weight, like she was waiting for a line to be fed to her. I opened the door and waited. No hug, no apology. Just, why are people saying mom cheated on you? I didn't answer right away. I just stepped aside and motioned for her to come in. She sat on the edge of the couch, the same spot Claire had zipped her suitcase not even a week ago. It felt like déjà vu, only colder. I need to show you something, I said. She narrowed her eyes. Is this more of your spying crap? No, I replied. This is the part of the story your mom didn't tell you. She didn't want to watch it first. Said it was manipulation, said I was trying to make her choose sides. But I didn't push. I told her the footage was there, unedited, time-stamped, and with audio. If she wanted to know the truth, she could see it. If not, she could keep believing whatever version Claire had spoon-fed her. I went upstairs. 20 minutes later, I heard the click of the USB drive going into the TV. And then silence. 15 minutes passed. Then 30. When I came back down, she was still sitting there, frozen, eyes glassy. Mom lied to me, she said, almost like she was trying to convince herself more than me. She said you were paranoid, that you were obsessed with the cameras, that you were trying to control us. Do I look like I was the one with something to hide? She didn't answer, just asked the question that cracked me. Did she ever love you? That one hit harder than the betrayal, the lies, even the footage. Because for the first time, I realized Lena wasn't just mad. She was hurt. She'd been used, turned into a shield for her mother's secret life. She wiped her face, stood up, and said she was going to her friends for the night. But right before walking out, she turned back to me and whispered, "Thank you for not yelling." That night, I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling and thought about the version of me that Claire had built in my daughter's head. A villain, a spy, a controlling husband, all while she was sneaking her affair partner in through the same front door I installed with my bare hands. But I wasn't going to let her rewrite the story anymore. I was done being quiet. The next day, I called my lawyer. Update 3. The lawyer didn't even blink when I told him why I was there. I laid everything out: footage, timestamps, money inconsistencies, and how Claire had packed up and tried to take our daughter with her without a single legal step in place. He just nodded and said, "We're going to need a forensic accountant." Turns out, this wasn't just a personal betrayal. It was creeping into legal and financial fraud territory. See, while I was working 50-hour weeks to keep our business afloat, Claire had opened a separate credit line under her maiden name. It wasn't huge, but it was steady. Monthly withdrawals that added up to nearly $27,000 over the past 2 years. And a chunk of that went into something labeled Property Development Partnership, a rental in Ben's name, a 2-bedroom apartment downtown. She was building a soft exit plan. She wasn't just cheating, she was laying bricks for her next life. One without me, possibly one with him. I filed for a legal separation the same day and requested an emergency freeze on joint accounts until further review. My lawyer told me not to contact Claire directly anymore, so I didn't. But then something unexpected happened. Lena came back, not to grab stuff, not to yell. She walked in with her overnight bag, set it by the stairs, and said, "I don't want to be around her right now." She didn't elaborate. I didn't push. But that night, while we were eating microwave pasta in awkward silence, she finally broke. She said it was your fault, that you were cold, distant, boring. I put my fork down. She blamed you, Lena said. Even when I asked if Ben was the reason you fought, she just said he understood her, like you didn't. I wanted to tell her that marriage is more than being understood, that I was working late because we needed the income, that I never once cheated, not even emotionally. But instead, I just said, sometimes people rewrite their lives to make betrayal easier to live with. Lena didn't reply, but she stayed. And that meant more than anything. That weekend, Claire showed up unannounced. She looked shocked when Lena opened the door, and even more shocked when Lena didn't invite her in. She just stood in the doorway and said, "I saw the videos, Mom. All of them. I'm staying with Dad." Claire's face crumbled. Not dramatic tears, just quiet, stunned silence. She turned and walked back to her car. For once, she didn't try to spin it. That was the night the story flipped. I wasn't the paranoid villain anymore. I was the father who told the truth. Update 4. Claire went quiet after that. No texts, no emails, not even an attempt to reach out through Lena. But the silence wasn't peaceful, it was strategic. I knew her too well by now. My lawyer called 2 days later. She hired an attorney. She's filing for divorce instead of responding to the separation papers. And she's requesting spousal support. I laughed, out loud, not because it was funny, but because of how absurd it had become. She cheated. She emptied accounts. She lied to our daughter's face and tried to spin the whole thing as my fault. And now she wanted money. But it got worse. She claimed she was coerced into leaving and that I had created an unsafe home environment. I asked what evidence she had. Apparently, her lawyer submitted screenshots of text messages, heavily edited ones, showing me threatening her. Except, I don't text Claire. Haven't in years. We talk face-to-face or not at all. She'd forged them, or had been sent them from a spoof number. And then, the final blow, they tried to submit a fake video clip. Grainy, blurry footage of someone standing outside Lena's door with what looked like a phone in hand. No face, no audio, just someone lurking. They were trying to paint me as a voyeur. The problem was the timestamp on the footage. It was from a day when Lena wasn't even home. She was at her friend Kayla's house for a weekend sleepover. I had the text proof, and Kayla's mom confirmed it too. They thought I'd be scared into compliance. Instead, I sent the full security archive to my attorney, including camera logs showing which devices accessed the camera system. Ben's name popped up more than once. From Claire's IP address. They weren't just lying. They were tampering with evidence. That was enough to flip the case in our favor. My lawyer filed a counterclaim, fraud, digital manipulation, defamation. Claire's lawyer dropped her a week later. Then came the email. From her. Subject line, "Can we talk privately?" Body, one sentence. I made a mistake, and I need to fix it before I lose Lena forever. I didn't respond. Not out of anger, but because I finally understood something. Claire wasn't sorry. She was losing, and I wasn't going to save her from herself. Update 5. By the time we reached the pre-trial mediation, Claire was a shell of who she used to be. No more smug looks. No dramatic speeches. Just tired eyes and a pitiful attempt to regain control. She sat across from me, her new lawyer whispering in her ear. I watched her fingers tremble as she signed the financial disclosures. I knew what was in them, and I was ready. Because while she was busy faking text messages and doctoring footage, I had real numbers. My lawyer had uncovered everything. The hidden account, the secret investment in Ben's name, the siphoned funds from our joint line of credit. She had funneled nearly $27,000 from our finances into a life she planned behind my back. Claire tried to argue that it was an emergency savings plan in case the marriage collapsed. I leaned forward and asked, "Was it also an emergency when he slept over while I was out of town? Or when you moved your name off the utility bills 3 months ago?" She didn't answer. The mediator asked if there was any path toward an amicable agreement. Claire looked at me, then at Lena, who had chosen to sit behind me that day, quietly supporting her father. Not once did she glance at her mom. Claire didn't speak. I did. I'm not looking to humiliate her. I just want my daughter to know who lied and who protected her. The silence said everything. In the end, I was granted full ownership of the house and our business. Claire had shown no contribution to either in over 2 years. The judge refused her spousal support request, citing financial misconduct and reputational damage she'd inflicted with her accusations. As for custody, Lena was 17. The court respected her choice. She chose to stay with me. The most bitter twist? Claire wasn't even with Ben anymore. Turns out, he had a history, multiple complaints at his old job for boundary issues with coworkers. Claire had just been another chapter in his mess. He ghosted her 2 weeks after our mediation. And now, she's living in a 1-bedroom sublease near the edge of town. No car, no partner, no daughter. She texted me last week. "I'm sorry. I wasn't myself." I didn't reply, because the man she betrayed, he was himself the whole time. Just no one wanted to see it. Update 6. Final court date. Claire showed up alone. No lawyer this time. No sister. No backup. Just her and a folder of last-minute character references from people I hadn't heard from in years. Old coworkers, her gym buddy, even a yoga instructor. None of it mattered. The judge had already reviewed the forensic report. Every transaction traced. Every login logged. Every lie documented. But what sealed it wasn't the money. It was the voice memo. Claire forgot she had it saved in her phone's cloud backup, a 47-second clip of her talking to Ben in our kitchen. She was laughing. The words still ring in my ears. "He won't do anything. He just watches. He's like background noise with a paycheck." That's what I was to her. Background noise. The judge paused the hearing, asked if I wanted to make a statement before the ruling. I didn't go for drama. I didn't cry. I just said, I didn't lose a wife. I lost the illusion of one. The judge awarded me sole ownership of our home, denied Claire's financial claims, and finalized custody arrangements until Lena turned 18. But the real final blow? I didn't give it. Lena did. On the way out, Claire tried to intercept her in the hallway. Just a whisper. "Sweetheart, please. I miss you." Lena stopped, looked her in the eye, and said, "You used me. You lied to me. You made me think Dad was dangerous so you could cheat in peace." Claire stood there, shaking. Then Lena leaned in and added, barely above a whisper, "I didn't lose a mom. I lost the illusion of one. Then she turned and walked away. That was it. No screaming. No breakdowns. Just truth. Cold, clean, irreversible. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day. And trust me, tomorrow's story, it's even worse than this one.